sometimes you come across a photograph such as this one, which was taken in 2012, which brings back a whole slew of memories. Now, this photo was taken inside the Japan Self-Defense Forces Agency, where I had actually done a series of articles for their magazine called Tsubasa, meaning wings, for 3 months during the summer of 2012. And we did the interview there at the Self-Defense Forces, and they asked me to take a pose for this picture. So I had on my hakama pants and a cool shirt that I had just gotten, and then my split-toed jikatabi shoes. And so I just started doing some Namba steps, and they captured it on camera, and it was a lot of fun to do this and to actually be in this place because it's super high security, and I was able to get a tour of the place after writing these articles. Well, here's some photos of the articles that I had written. It's all in Japanese, so I won't bother to go into detail, but basically the theme was agility and the ability to move freely in mind and body and action. And so we focused each month on one of those themes, and they interviewed me, and it was really cool to be in this magazine. But the really cool part for me on that day was that I got a tour of some special parts of the Self-Defense Forces agency that are not ordinarily open to the public. And one of them was the reconstruction using the actual materials of the Tokyo Military Tribunal, the Tokyo war crimes, where after World War II, certain Japanese military officers were tried, and they reconstructed it. It had been originally in a different location, but they reconstructed it painstakingly, panel by panel, and they showed me how it was done. And they even had the seat where the emperor sits, and they said, well, this is where Tojo Hideki was sitting, and they told me it was the head of the Japanese army, and they told me all these details about it, and they had actual photographs and letters and implements and devices that were used at the time. So it was really kind of a step back in time, with a time machine. And I told them that I had actually met through Aikido a senior, when I met him, which was around that time actually, he was already in his 80s. His name was Eto Sensei from Hawaii. And he was a second generation Japanese, and he had actually been in Japan at that time and had done the translation for Tojo Hideki, which was quite amazing to me, and also to them. They were just astonished. So then they started showing me all kinds of other places, including the place where Mishima Yukio, the quite fanatical patriotic author in 1970, tried to commandeer the Self-Defense Forces building and made a passionate speech, and then disemboweled himself right there. And they showed me the room where it happened, and there were, chips out of the wall, and it was just quite they also showed us a photograph of the Japanese military taken from, I don't know how they took it. It almost looked like it was taken from a drone, but they obviously didn't have drones in those days. But it was a huge photograph of all these officers before the war started. And I could recognize Yamamoto Isoroku and Tojo Hideki and some of the major characters in that whole drama. But it was just quite an amazing tour, and it was just such a privilege to be able to do that. And so sometimes, as I say, a single photograph can bring back all these memories, and you think of all the work that went in, all the people that you knew at the time, and it was all the present moment at the time. And now it's 8 years ago, and without the photograph, it might have faded. So anyway, this is just something that sometimes I get quite passionate about. things that I did in the past. So the passion is still there, and it's really fun to revisit it through photos and things that you keepsakes, for example, these articles. So I hope you also have things like this in your life and occasionally revisit something you did, say, 5, 10 years ago, and see if you can rekindle or revisit some of those passions and see how they connect to what you're doing now.